Welcome everyone, this is your host Abraham L. Jaguar, a professional game master. First of all, this channel is proudly sponsored by 7 Sagas and their tabletop RPG Ars Mechanica. Experience the 30 years war waged by walking Titanic engines. It even comes with solo rules. You will find it in the description and in the pinned comment. This channel is also proudly sponsored by Detri Studios, the publishers and developers of Dames of Asstoria, a tabletop role-playing game where you play as monster girls experiencing high adventure in a world that doesn't fully accept them. They have recently released Daughters of Lamb. This is a pay-what-you-want tabletop RPG where you get to play as cybernetic nuns with guns, looking for the missing pieces of their AI god. You will find it in their website. The link will be in the description and in the pinned comment. This channel is also proudly sponsored by the Red Room Publishing. Please check out their store for exclusive tabletop RPG products and check out their recent release, Final Frontier. This is a streamlined sci-fi tabletop RPG where you get to play to explore space, for justice, for profit, for both. You will find it in their website. The link will be in the description and in the pinned comment as well. Today, I am continuing my review series featuring Magi-Knights Awakening. If you haven't seen the other parts in this review series, please check out the playlist in the description below. This is a Super Sentai magical girl inspired tabletop RPG. And today we are going to talk about a Heartless Knight, a Fallen Knight. This is a dangerous concept, something that a Magi Knight is always subject to when battling evil. Once a Magi Knight has received 3 or more corruption points, they become shut off from others and become inherently more self-serving. They gain the Heartless Knight effect. However, if they would ever possess 5 or more corruption points, they become inured to the suffering of others, and even to the mental anguish of their own hearts. This leads to them becoming fallen knights. When it comes to the various effects, in the case of Heartless Knights, you are subject to a few things, such as you can no longer participate in the free time activity, Moment of Catharsis, and you lose access to the comforting comrade ability. You start to separate from others. You don't benefit from their warmth, their friendship, their kindness. And if you become a fallen knight, you become subject to even more extreme effects. For example, you downgrade any refreshing sleep effects to an average sleep effect. However, you also become a bit less vulnerable to more negative effects, such as when you would gain trauma points, you reduce the amount received by half, minimum of 1. But when you gain the horrified condition, it is instead immediately downgraded to the distressed condition as well. And you have the risk of relapse effect. Anytime you would gain a corruption point, you gain an additional corruption point. So even though you become a bit more resistant to various effects, your downwards spiral towards oblivion, at least in the sense of being heroic, is almost inescapable. If the tainted ideals of the invading evil have ever taken root in a Magi Knight's heart, they will find themselves being forced to make corruption checks to see if they fall into the clutches of the invading evil. To make a corruption check, you roll a d100. You add 5 to your total for each corruption point and 10 to your total for each corruption point you have that is on your Terminator line. No other abilities, shards, modifiers, or effects may influence or alter the roll or result of a corruption check unless specifically mentioned to do so. If your result is 100 or more, you have succeeded the corruption check and now refer to a section in the book. If you fail, nothing happens this time. But let's say that you succeed a corruption check. During a corruption check, when this happens, your character might choose to embrace evil. During the next patrol phase, the Magic Keeper and the player will describe a scenario in which the Fallen Knight has become a corrupt Magi-Knight and is about to embrace evil. The player then makes one final choice for their Fallen Knight. There is fatal mistake. The Fallen Knight can try to realize the error of their ways. At the last possible moment, they gain one burnout line and treat the result as if they had failed instead. But there is embracing evil. Instead of attempting to turn themselves away from darkness, the Heartless or Fallen Knight opts to give themselves wholly to it. The Fallen Knight, when he or she embraces evil, they are now part of the allegiance of the invaders. The player no longer has control over that character. It becomes a non-player character. However, there is still a chance for redemption, but it is not easy. It involves various things, among them defeating the non-player Magi-Knight. This is a great concept because you could be role-playing as a non-player character and fight your former Magi-Knight, now turned to darkness. And if you defeat that non-player character, there is a chance to recover it as a player character. So it's always a good idea to have like some spare non-player characters, Magi-Knights preferably, so that the player can roleplay as those non-player characters. In that case, they become player characters effectively, and the villainous Magi-Knight is redeemed. Now you can resume control of your Magi-Knight that was under the grasp of evil. And this concludes this part of the review series. In the next part, we are going to talk about crystalline fracturing. Wow, this is one of the best aspects of Magi-Knights Awakening. There are so many stories in fiction concerning Magi-Knights and Super Sentai warriors that sometimes they fall to darkness, they become the antagonists, but other times they come back from that evil side to rejoin their friends. So you have this baked into the setting right here, and it's so thematic, so awesome. Thank you for watching this part of the review series. Don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, consider joining as a member using the super thanks button. Take a look at the information in the description and in the pinned comment. This has been your host Abraham L. Jaguar, a professional game master. And remember, in tabletop role-playing games, it's not about what you want your characters to do. It's about what your characters are doing. Once again, thank you and see you later.